Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be directly comparing these two eyeshadow palettes. I've got the Desert Monsoon from What's Up Beauty and the Blessed from Sydney Grace and Glitzy Fritzy. I recently got both of these palettes, and then when I had them in hand, I realized that their color stories are basically the same. So yeah, that's on me. I feel a little bit foolish, but I decided to compare them, swatch them side by side, and then do a look and decide if it made sense for me to keep both of them, and if I were to get rid of one, which one would it be? Guys, let me give you a brief background on these two palettes. This is Desert Monsoon from What's Up Beauty. I got this on sale. They were having this huge sale on their website, up to 60% off, and I think I got it for $13 or $16, something like that. It's originally mid-30s. Anyway, it's a beautiful palette, and I love the What's Up formula. The mattes, the shimmers, they're both so beautiful, but the shimmers especially are my preference as far as lightweight and sparkly, and I love their Geodes palette, so I figured this is a great, the sibling palette. And then Sydney Grace, this is the Blessed palette when they collaborated with Glitzy Fritzy. Sydney Grace has a phenomenal eyeshadow formula. Honestly, I think their mattes are some of the best I've tried. Sydney Grace, What's Up Beauty, Blend Bunny, amazing mattes. And their shimmers are really beautiful. They're very creamy, very smooth, very buttery, just this lovely, gentle wash. However, they're not sparkly the way that I want. I have been trying to find my Sydney Grace Holy Grail. I haven't found it yet, but a subscriber I saw was selling this palette. This is the Blessed palette. Like I said, when they collaborated, I think I said, with Glitzy Fritzy, and I thought this color story was lovely, and I knew the quality was going to be amazing. And then I realized, because these two arrived within a week or so of each other, that color stories, they're basically the same, right? Obviously, Blessed is larger, but yeah, they're the same. And I am annoyed with myself for having brought in two palettes that are more or less the same. So what I'm gonna do in today's video is I'm going to swatch them directly next to each other, and then I'm gonna do an eye look, one palette on one eye, the other palette on the other eye. I don't know how that's gonna work yet. You guys can put in the comments which one you think, which palette for which eye you think, but I will just match up the shades that I think are the same. And the end result of this is to see if they really are as close as they seem to be, and then probably just pass along one, which I hate saying, but it doesn't make sense for me to keep both. And I do prefer the shimmers of What's Up Beauty, only because they're more sparkly. Of course, Blessed has more colors. I don't know. Let's get going with swatches, and then I'll do an eye look at the end. I was thinking I would swatch the whole palette and then compare, but I think what I'll do is side by side, one to another, because I'm not very good at swatching, and it's awkward to try to swatch a whole palette, Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm just gonna swatch one shade at a time. So we'll start with the shade here, Glow, from the Desert Monsoon palette, and I think that that is closest to Be a Blessing right here in the Blessed palette. Again, this palette's great. I don't want to say anything bad about the palettes because they're both really lovely. Here's Glow, and here's Be a Blessing. Is that what I said? Glow is more of a gold, and Be a Blessing is much more pink. So I guess they're not as close as I was expecting now that I swatched them next to each other, but let me look and see. Maybe Pop Nongi as well, you think? It's clearly a white. Yeah, they're different. So Glow has a lot more gold in it. They're definitely different. We've got white, we've got gold, we've got pink. Definitely different. So that's an encouraging start. The next one is Canyon, this lovely, rich, reddish brown. And I think I'll compare that to Family. Canyon, oh, look at the swatch, and Family. Oh, they're both great. Okay, Family is more cocoa brown, and Canyon is definitely more of a Canyon Red Rocks sort of undertone. It's brown with a lot of red in it. They're both great though. They swatch so nicely. I think that What's Up swatched even a little bit better in that particular instance. Here now we have Desert Rose, a lovely soft pink shimmer, and I'll compare that to Sugar Tiger here. Isn't the name great though? Sugar Tiger. Yeah, that's it. There's no other pinky shimmer. So this is the What's Up Beauty, and this is Sugar Tiger. Okay, again, they're quite different. There's a lot. Do you see the shift in What's Up? Lots of shift in there. It looks very pink in the pan, but on my palm, It looks really gold and orangey too. And then Sugar Tiger is a nice creamy pink with a bit of white in it. Okay, so far they're not as close as I was thinking. You know, it might end up coming down to the way that something looks in the pan, especially with the What's Up Beauty, because these shades are more duochromes or multichromes versus a standard excellent quality but one color shimmer. Now let's play with Succulent. There's nothing, I don't think there's anything. Oh yeah, of course, there's a purple shimmer. Here is Shy Guy. So Succulent and Shy Guy. All right, lovely. Shy Guy has a whole lot more blue in it. Do you see that? Succulent is a light leaning mid-tone purple. I don't think that one's really shifting. There might be a hint of blue in it, but it's hard to tell because it's next to a purple that has a lot of blue. So maybe this one's just, it's not duochromatic. Maybe it's just a purple shimmer. But Shy Guy has way more blue in it. Would it have been smart to swatch these light to dark? I'm using baby wipes to clean off my hands, not makeup wipes. That might make a difference too. Here's Downpour. This might be more like Shy Guy, but I think it's got a lot more blue in it too. There's no dark blue in Blessed. The only blue in Blessed is this one here, which is nothing like what's in Monsoon. But I think just for today's purposes, I'll swatch Shy Guy again next to Downpour. So here's Downpour from What's Up, and here's Shy Guy again. Yeah, so now we've got a way more deep blue with purple flecks rather than a purple with blue flecks. The Shy Guy shade from Sydney Grace is definitely purple, but when you blend it out, I'm getting some pink. And this one I feel like when I blend it out, I still get just more of a purple. All right, so now we're at the deepest matte in the palette. This is Thunder. This is a much more deep cocoa brown, almost black maybe. It's like a chocolate lab color. And I'm gonna swatch that next to Me After 60. So Thunder and Me After 60. Okay, they're really close. They're definitely different. Me After 60 has more gray in it. Thunder, like I said, is a chocolate Labrador sort of color. A deep cocoa, honestly. But Me After 60 has more gray. And I think that What's Up still swatches better in this one as well. All right, now we'll take Dust Storm, which is kind of my skin tone matte. And I'm gonna swatch that next to this one here, My Savior. I guess maybe just for kicks we'll swatch Cinnamon Girl here. These are not closer. I just thought they're both lighter mattes. So first Dust Storm, then My Savior, then Cinnamon Girl. You can barely even see these on my skin. Okay, can you see those? Dust Storm, My Savior, Cinnamon Girl. Dust Storm is more yellow based. They're all still very light. They're very light transition or blending out kinds of shades. My Savior has just a tiny bit of pink in it, and then Cinnamon Girl is like a light toned, warm brown color. So now moving into this pinky shimmer down here called Humidity. It's almost like a deeper baby pink. I'm gonna compare that one back to Sugar Tiger. And I think Be a Blessing, which I don't really feel is very close, but maybe live swatching it will be. So here's Humidity. Ooh, that's lovely. Here's Sugar Tiger again, which we swatched earlier, and here's Be a Blessing. So from this angle, I see sort of a dusty mauve or dusty rose in the What's Up palette, and then I see a lighter, almost iridescent, like a metallic Barbie pink in the Sydney Grace shimmer. But then from this angle, when I turn my hand, now I've got definitely a deeper dusty rose and more of a Barbie doll pink here. They're both lovely and they're looking metallic. And then this creamy champagne one's just different. It's just different. It doesn't have any pink. Okay, now we're diving into the greens. There are two greens in each of these palettes. This one is called Sun. And when I've swatched these two greens side by side, Sun is a much more slightly glittery leaning green with a whole lot of gold, maybe a gold with a bit of green. And then this one here is definitely a green shimmer. So I'm going to swatch Sun first, and I will compare that to My Buttercup. Here's Sun. See that gold? A lot of gold with a little bit of green. And here's My Buttercup. Again, it's a lot of gold with a little bit of green. Beautiful tones, they're both beautiful. My Buttercup is standard Sydney Gray style, a lovely, creamy, smooth matte. And then over here, the What's Up Sun shade is it's just a bit more sparkly, honestly. It really comes down to that because they're so close in color. They're so similar that you're gonna get the same kind of look. It's just a matter of final finish. And I might need to use that green gold shade that I just swatched. I might need to use that in my look today, only to see how they compare one to another on the eyes in practice. Moving on, let's take the other green shimmer. Here it's called Cactus, and here it's called So Merry. It looks a little bit more lime green in the Sydney Grace palette. Cactus and So Merry. Oh yeah. Actually, in this one, I like Sydney Grace better. Look at the brightness of that shade. I think the undertones are similar. The Cactus shade, I'm sorry, the Sydney Grace So Merry shade has more of a green yellow undertone, and then Cactus here is quite a bit murkier, a little darker, a little bit more like a moss green. They're both pretty, but actually I would say I prefer Sydney Grace on this one. I think that there's a lot of gold in that Sydney Grace shimmer as well, but it feels more like almost an afterthought as opposed to the other shimmer, which had gold as kind of the prominent shade and the green was second. All right, we're nearing the end now with this pink matte. This is just a nice soft berry matte. Oh, it's so, so soft. So I'm gonna compare that to Little Bit here. Yeah, that's it. What was this one called? Did I even say? It's called Tempest. So here is Tempest, and here is Little Bit. Okay, they're quite different. Let me swatch Little Bit again because it's looking a little bit weak. All right, very different. Tempest has a lot of pink in it, and Little Bit is more of maybe a deep mauve color. Very different. I do think that What's Up swatched a little bit better. You can't base your decisions on the swatches because it, at the end of the day, really comes down to the performance on the eyes. Swatches can be helpful, but they're not the final test. And speaking of final, here is the shade Joshua Tree in Desert Monsoon. This is just a nice mid cool tone matte brown. And there's nothing in here that's quite like this one, honestly. It's kind of like My Savior, only a bit, well, quite a bit deeper. I'm going to compare it to Pita, I think. Joshua Tree and Pita. Yeah, Pita's even cooler. Actually, the Pita shade reminds me of a shade in the What's Up Beauty Geodes palette. But anyway, it's quite a cool tone brown, sort of mid-tone, bit of a gray lean, and Joshua Tree is just like a dirt brown. They're both pretty, but they're definitely different. They're not the same. Okay, so those are all of the shades in Desert Monsoon. Now, looking at Blessed, the ones that we didn't directly compare were Fritziness, obviously, Irish Heat, High School BFF, but all of the other ones I compared directly. And there are 12 shades in Desert Monsoon, and there are 3 times 5, 15 shades in Blessed, and there were 3 that I didn't compare. That means that every single shade in Desert Monsoon was close enough that I thought it might be reasonably duped with this palette. What do you guys think? I'm going to prime my eyes and then hop into the tutorial. It's going to be pretty quick. I will tell you what shades I'm using, but I'm not going to tell you which palette is going on which eye. And at the end of the video, you know, you take your guess and put it in the comments. That's always fun. And I'm going to assess the 2 eye looks and see if I really prefer one over the other as far as final result or formula and use and performance, etc. For the mattes in today's look, I'm going to use the shades Joshua, Dust Storm, and Canyon in the Desert Monsoon palette, and then in Blessed I'll be using My Savior, Pita, and Family. Those are the 3 mattes I'll be using, one on either eye. Won't tell you which eye is which. Let's go. Now I want to use the green shimmers. In the Desert Monsoon palette, they're called Cactus and Sun, and then in the Blessed palette, they're called So Merry and My Buttercup. I think I'll lay those down with probably a sprayed brush. I'll put them on the brush first, then spray, and then put them on the eyes. For the inner corner highlights, I'm going to use Be a Blessing and Glow. And then I think for my lower lash line, I'll do Desert Rose and Sugar Tiger. That's like the pink shimmers. And then we'll see about the outer lower lash line. And finally, on the outer lower lash line, I'll do Me After 60 from Blessed and Thunder from Desert Monsoon. Alright guys, I'm not wearing any mascara because I had a little bit of an infection on this lash line, so I'm letting that heal. I am wearing the Positano Sunrise highlighter from Nomad, which is beautiful. And on my lips, I'm wearing this liner from Italia Deluxe 1065 Terracotta and the NYX Smooth Whip Matte Lip Cream in the shade Kitty Belly. Now, let's talk about these palettes. Actually, let's talk about the look. What do we think? I think that if you were paying attention to the swatches, then when I applied the green to my lid, you would know which one was the What's Up Beauty palette. But leave your guesses in the comments below. Which eye do you think is What's Up Beauty and which eye do you think is Sydney Grace? Based on if you watched the swatches or if you were paying attention or what you think my preferences are, because you know that I kind of prefer one shimmer formula over the other. And then I'd love to hear what you think of the looks themselves. Like, do you think that this is basically the same look? Obviously there are differences. Like this side is much more warm tone and this side is a lot more cool. There's some more like gray leaning charcoaly kinds of colors, whereas over here I have more earthy dirt kind of colors. I'm getting that over here. This side the green is much more vibrant. This side the green is a little more muted. The lower lash line, I think the inner corner is quite comparable, quite similar. The pink, this one's more baby pink or metallic. This side's a little bit more of a pink gold sort of thing. The outer corners I think were just about the same. And even when I applied them both times, I was like, ooh, that's a lot of pigment. So I'm gonna check your comments below because I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. But this is the What's Up Beauty side, Desert Monsoon, and this is the Sydney Grace. So like this. They're both beautiful palettes. They're both excellent, excellent quality. This one obviously has 3 other shades that this does not offer, one of which is quite distinctive, that light blue shimmer. But I can't justify owning both of these. And I feel foolish. I feel foolish because I'm careful to curate my collection and keep it manageable, keep it joyful for myself. But I had rather an influx of palettes between somebody giving me some palettes and then I sold some palettes as well, and with the sales money I bought a few palettes. That's why I had a bunch of things come in within about a month, and because there wasn't a long pause between my procuring palettes, I didn't have time to really get to know the newest version or the newest iteration of my collection, because if I had, I would have known this color story well enough to recognize it in this. And so I'm annoyed with myself. They're both beautiful. I don't regret owning these palettes per se. It's simply that they're the same color story and I shouldn't have spent the money on both. I bought this one first, and honestly, I do prefer this formula overall. Between the undertones and the shimmer formula, those are the only 2 considerations that are making this one stand a little bit higher. These undertones being more gray leaning and the shimmers being less sparkly are the only reason that's bringing this one a little bit lower. But honestly, this is a fantastic palette. And to the subscriber from whom I bought this palette, it's fully on me. It's a beautiful palette. thank you for letting me have it, for letting me play with it. I know you weren't using it, you were hoping to see me do some looks with it, but honestly, I'm gonna get the same looks from either one. And I know somebody who has been working to get rid of all cosmetics from her collection which are not made in the United States, and Sydney Grace is one of the few brands that she still has. She loves the formula and she doesn't have this one yet. So I'm gonna pass this on to a friend. I know that she's gonna get a lot of use out of this, and it's going to be a jewel in her collection because her collection used to be hundreds and hundreds of palettes, and she's just jettisoning everything that's not made in America. So this is gonna rise to the top quickly, I'm sure. As far as the looks themselves, I'm gonna leave these on all day, why not? I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Of course, as always, tell me if you have experience with both of these formulas and which one you prefer. I appreciate your time. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Do consider liking and subscribing before you go, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.